The more hands you shake, the more money you will make.
Well, hopefully he doesn't listen to the podcast. You might be able to hide it from him for a little bit more.
If you're a startup company, you want to be into that.
So it sounds like you have your team doing it too. And I think I see a lot of owners struggling with this.
Make you share, well, not make you share, but you're like,
You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. A lot of you are listening. Not a lot of you are subscribing, following, reviewing. Add some of that love for us, right? Hit that button. Have a little text in there. Just a little text. Man, this was really helpful for our business. Something like that. We'd love the feedback. If you want to take the conversation beyond what you're just listening to here, go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success, and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Today we got Tim Spear, AZ Roofing. Not out of AZ, though. Don't get it confused. This is New England. New England is in the house.
We're in Connecticut.
Yeah. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Glad to have you on. It took a little while to make it happen, but we did it.
Yeah, for sure. Like last time was a little with the computer issue, and even today I had a little bit of time with the computer issue.
That's why. So I did. I went to school. Part of what I went to school for was computer programming, and I got out of school and I had to work as a programmer then. And boy, I learned fast that I didn't like to do that. And it's because of just little funny issues that come across every day. And just stuff doesn't work all the time. So
yeah,
I just want to be the one fixing that.
But not anymore.
Yeah, that's right. So cool, man. Let's talk about the story of AZ Roofing and you know how you got into roofing.
I got into it, I think, about 12 years ago. It was like 2011 through a buddy of mine. And he just got me involved. I worked for a big roofing company out here. It was a big commercial roofing company. I pretty much, worked there forever, cashed out my 401k, and then went totally into doing it myself. On a small scale, though, we weren't really doing a lot of commercial roofing. We were more like a house every 2 weeks. You know, I did a lot of other stuff back then to, bring in cash flow. But now I cut pretty much everything else out, and it's just pretty much more with the insurance scope. We do interior work, stuff like that as well.
So when you started off, it wasn't let's just say, so it was was it a side hustle, like doing kind of a side hustle doing roofing, or was it like, I know I want this business, but I'm gonna just work on it slowly? What was the mindset back then?
Back then there was, 12 years ago it was a little different. It was more just a cash flow. Like, I went from, commercial. I was doing the commercial thing. The owner was real cool with me. It was like, Tim, you need a day off to do roofing? Go ahead, rock out. So it was prevailing wage. So I always got good pay, a good 401k, and it was just pieces, Hey, Chris, his name was Chris. I'm like, hey, Chris, can I take Friday off? I got a roof to do. And it was no problem. Hey, man, take off, and then I want to get a roof for whatever, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And the same thing. Hey, Chris, man, I need 2 days. I got a roof. No problem, Tim, take care. And then it just ended up just changing like pretty fast. It took years to get to where I'm at now. We really, really, really started bubbling, I would say, 4 years ago. So it took that long for me to really get going. Now we're doing 2 roofs a day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends. And we're going to probably up that this year to 3 each day. But it was never like that. Like I said, it was, 1 every couple of weeks. And I did other stuff to create cash flow,
Yep. And having that job, right? Union prevailing wages, like that gave you the base. A lot of, I guess that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Like, a lot of times people don't think about that in business, right? They don't think about, well, maybe I could have this, I could start this, but I could do this to pay my bills every day, right? And so, it's a different mindset. But it's an option.
Yeah.
You don't have to drop everything and be hustling for the house payment and, just hoping for the best, right? Like you can, there are other ways to get this going. So then there was some years of that, right? Some years of that, like, hey, I'm going to do this house on this roof on the side, this roof on the side. Then started adding up. And then you told me a story that it kind of about when it started taking off and what happened at that point in time. You want to share that with the listeners?
So I knew a little bit about insurance, not a lot, but you're in the roofing industry. Like 4 or 5 years ago, it kind of took off with like insurance work, Facebook, Instagram. You could get to learn all that stuff. I have a kid named Jake Thomas. He's out in Florida now. Good sales guy. He brought that to my company. I knew 50%. He covered that other 50% that I didn't know. And Jake brought a couple guys on with him, and I've known Jake for a while. So I knew him years before that. And he worked for another company. And it pretty much, hey, Jake, man, what's up, man? What are you doing? When are you going to come on over? Not trying to stay stealing, but he was my boy,
Yeah.
But he sees my company and their company, like this company is a big company. And he always told me, hey, Tim, there's going to be a day where I'm going to say, excuse my language, F this, and I'm going to come on board. And that's pretty much what happened. I think it was in the wintertime. He was like, hey, man, you got a truck for me? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then from there, it took off. So it went from doing probably one roof a week at that time, one roof every 2 weeks, to we're doing 4, 5, and just getting new sales guys and stuff like that, builds it up. And now, I got 3 good sales guys that are doing well over $1 million, But yeah, I would say about that 4-year mark, that's how long it took me to get to kind of where I'm at now.
But it was that relationship that you had with this longtime friend, right? Who was also in the roofing business, but just in a different capacity as a salesperson, right? And that injection of sales, right? Maybe, we all think of ourselves a lot of times as like, if we're the owner, we're the salesman, right? And maybe we're good salesmen, maybe we're not, right? Yeah. But if your attention, it changes when there's 100% attention being paid to that role.
Yeah.
Right. It changes when you have, when part of your day is running the business, part of your day is production, part of your day is, running to the supply house, part of your day is answering the phone, part of your day is selling. Man, it's hard to get the wheels moving, right? It's hard to.
Yeah. So back then I was roofing. I was on the roof.
You were on the roof too. Yeah, you were a roofer. You're a roofer, not a real roofer, not just
So, I get what you're saying. It definitely was like that. Jake was fully fledged into roofing sales. Yeah. And like I said, he bridged that gap that I didn't know about insurance, like all the lingo. And he brought another guy on board and he taught me a lot. But yeah, Jake's down in Florida right now, real good kid, still talk to him to this day. God forbid, if we had a crazy storm here tomorrow, I'm sure I'd call and say, hey, Jake, you want to come up here? He'd be like, oh yeah, let's make some money. Our relationship, I talk to him probably like once a month, once every other month. And when I do go down to Florida, I stop in there, and say, hey, what's up?
That's another thing that I heard from you, even the company you were working with, as a roofer, right? In the union job, the boss, your boss over there wasn't against you going out and doing something on the side and bettering your financial situation.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day, right? Like,
no,
right? And so, and then like the same way, now you're happy that Jake moved on and is doing well down in Florida. And like, there's a mindset there, right? There's an abundance mindset maybe that you have to accept that, and maybe it was the way that you were treated. Now that's why you treat people that way. How do you think, what do you think about that?
I never really thought about it like that, because, I never really did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it might, it's just stuff that like, we don't like, if a lot of times, man, the relationships get hurt really bad. Personal relationships get hurt really bad when someone steps out and does something on the side, or when someone starts their own company. But it seems like you've maintained the relationships along the way.
Yeah, I've had guys that took off and tried to do their own thing.
Yep.
There's a couple guys you really do feel a little salty because at the end of the day you're like, man, I trained the hell out of you. You've been rocking with me. There's a few guys I've had, and there's a few guys where I'm like, hey man, I have one kid right now. His name's Nick. I'm sure he'll end up watching the show. He was just like, Tim, man, I want to make the big bucks, and I'm like, hey man, rock out, because I know it's not easy. In all reality, it takes 10 years to really get to where you want to be. That's my opinion.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
You need 10 years of straight grinding, making like no money to be where, you really want to be. A lot of guys think, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Like, we got a pretty smooth ship here. Everybody has speed bumps. So we're not the 100% every little thing that we do is perfect. We always have bumps. Our bumps are small bumps though. We don't have any major problems with the amount of volume we're doing. I think it's pretty damn good. We're still a 5-star company for the last 12 years, and you know how fast that could turn around like that.
That's right.
And it might not even be you, just somebody that doesn't like you just gave you 1 star.
Yep.
But sorry to get off topic, but yeah, Nick was like, hey man, I want to make big bucks. And I left the door open for Nick. I said, listen, Nick, if it don't work out, you need help, you need a few days here and there, man, don't hesitate to give me a call. He was one of my carpenter guys. So he went to carpenter, he jumped to roof sales, and then he wanted to make the big bucks. But he comes back and forth once in a while, and good for him, but he kept it 100% legit with me. Like, hey, Tim, I want to do what you're doing. Awesome. So our relationship with me and Nick is pretty good. I give him a high five. Hey man, whatever you need, I'll help you as much as I can, but then there's those few other people that I'm like,
it's a different, it's how you do things, right? Like it makes a big difference. Like, so if you're shiesty and you're starting to steal customers while you're working for a company. I was in one of the Facebook groups. One of the Facebook groups the other day. I was in one of the roofing Facebook groups, and I saw this guy type out, and he made himself anonymous in the group, and he was like, "Hey, you could tell why I'm anonymous. I work for a company. I want to start my own. I have goals of starting my own. Like, what advice could people give you?" And a bunch of people were giving him some good advice. Some of them said, don't do it. Just stay selling. Like, it's much easier. Others, others were giving him good advice. And I thought that there was one piece of advice that I thought was really good. And it was around burning a bridge. Right. And it was like, and the advice was, don't sell for yourself while you're still working for the company you're working for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't take, because then it gets muddy, right?
Yeah.
Like, then it gets muddy. Then it's like, hey, Tim sent me out to go and do an inspection on this job, but I got the neighbor, and then I threw that on my books.
Yeah. We have a pretty tight team when it comes to that stuff, man. We're I weed all the small stuff out of here. I get rid of it fast, or it weeds out itself. But for the 7-8 sales guys I have, man, we're pretty damn tight. So I don't get a lot of that. It slips through the cracks though, so don't get me wrong.
And I'm not exactly, and I'm not saying it in terms of what's happening in your shop, right? Like, but I thought that was good advice to other people, right? Like
sure.
that's good advice. Like, hey, be upfront and honest about your intentions, right? Like your guy did, Nick. Hey, I want to, I think I have a shot at bettering my family's, situation by doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll support you on that, right? And let me know what you need. But at the same time, it sounds like he didn't do anything that was compromising to your business at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I interviewed another guy on the podcast a while ago, who worked for an interior remodeling company. And when he decided, man, I really want to start my own business, he went out and started an exterior remodeling company to not compete with his buddy who was his old boss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so, he separated it that way. And there's good ways to do it and bad ways to do it. And, hopefully people do it the good way, but there's lots of bad stories around this industry. So
when Jake came out here, when he jumped on ship, he was like, hey, Tim, man, I'm giving you like 2.5 years and I'm moving to Florida. He was dead honest with me.
Yeah.
He was like, my girlfriend's going to be out of school here. She wants to move down to her parents' house down there. I'm giving you like 2.5 years. I was like, all right, man, no problem. And he, like I said, he taught me a ton of stuff to get me to where I'm at. So I'm definitely grateful for Jake, 100%.
That's awesome, man. And so I guess through that, right, you're a roofer. Your production is probably, process is tight. Your quality is high. You have that dialed in. Now there's this injection of sales. And also it sounds like Jake had some sales management aspect to him too, where recruiting and sales management, because he recruited some other guys too. Is that how it worked?
Yeah. So I don't want to badmouth talk the other his old boss, but like he had some small issues over there. Yeah. And it's how you treat people. Nobody's stealing really anybody from anybody, because my guys, if they don't like me, they're going to take off.
That's right.
The environment, they're going to leave. That's a big culture. I've been seeing a lot of people throw that out a lot. Like culture is we have a real good culture here. Like everybody kind of gets along with everybody, and if you don't really fit, you'll know. People
stay for the culture.
Yeah,
and you can tell that fit pretty easy on, right? So, in now that you've kind of developed this process, you've gone that route, you're developing salespeople, how are you working on training and things like that with your team?
Training, I have a good sales manager. Her name's Sean. She came from another company as well. I use her. She's real good with the insurance. Been in the insurance game for years and years and years. So she brought a lot of stuff to here. Deshaun Bryan. I'm sure you know who Deshaun is.
My man. Yeah,
my man. I've been rocking with Deshaun since probably, I think it was his second or third place he went to. When he visits and does the training. So I take Deshaun 2 times a year, 1 or 2 times a year. I bring him in. And then he does his thing with the guys. So there's training there. The roof strategist, we do stuff with him. I'm on his program, and I'm on Becca's too. So anybody that's out there that has a good program, I'm jumping on it.
That's right.
And then, for training wise, and then I'll tweak it to how I want it or whatever, because there's always something I'm like, no, it's not.
That's a good point. That's a good point to make to people is if you have to create everything from scratch yourself, this is the way I look at it. If you have to create everything from scratch yourself, it's a lot of effort, right? But if you could take Adam's program, Becca's program, a lot of these other good coaches out there, you could take their programs as the foundation, as your starting point.
Yeah.
And then add your personality into it, right? I had a guy on the podcast, Ryan Kettering, who talked about when we start off in business, we start off kind of emulating, right? We're copying another business in our area or that we've seen.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay, this is the way that I see them doing it. Let me try to structure it this way. right? And you get to this point where it's like, okay, all right, I think I'm structured similar, or it could be structured similar to somewhere you've worked in the past, or something like that, right? And so you have this kind of framework to work with, but then you hit a certain point and you have to make that your own.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing from you. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you're just tweaking on yourself. Like, our look is everybody's kind of starting to jump on our look with things. Like, we have our own hook truck. I was like the only one around here that does that. Everybody's on the trailer game. I did the trailer game years and years ago. That the trucks that we buy, a lot of guys are buying the same vans as us. But at the end of the day, there's just, you can't duplicate us,
That's right.
But I take it from other people. Like Deshaun, I took a lot from him. Like you said, this one I took a little bit from, that one I took a little bit from. Same thing with the guys that come in from other roofing companies. So Jake brought a lot. I took some stuff from him. Sean's awesome. I took a lot from her. So it's a lot of different pieces. I take a little bit from everybody. And I'm sure there'll be another sales guy and another sales guy. Hey, Tim, this works way better to do it this way. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna at least try it. And if it don't work, I go back to the other way. A lot of people, like you said, do, that.
Yeah. And you could get so far by just straight up copying, but just understand that you're going to have to make some adjustments to make it your own. And that kind of fits back to what you were talking about in the company culture, right? Mm-hmm. Every company has its own little vibe, its own culture, its own, and the people get attracted to that and want to work around people like them and people with similar interests and similar values. And so it builds on itself, and then people want to stay with you for a long time.
Yeah. I have a few guys that have been with me for some years now,
Yeah.
Culture wise, we do like 4th of July. We'll do a nice big picnic here, just it's good because you do the picnic and I could have a team meeting. It's so hard to do the team meetings because like everybody at one time. We have our sales meeting every week. That's awesome. But we have so many aspects beyond the roofing. We do, we have the carpentry guys that do that. I would say our company is like 97%, 95% just all insurance. And I actually just opened up another company. It's a tree business. Totally separate, different name.
Yep.
Tree hits a house, we go take it off. We have our sales guys there. They, insurance work, boom, boom, done. But to have the culture wise, like I do the 4th of July parties, memorial parties. I won't cut the whole day out, but I'm like, hey, 12 o'clock, everybody back at the shop.
Yep.
We're rocking for 3 hours. I pay you for the full day, and it's hard. So those days are perfect in 2 ways. One, to talk to everybody because I have all the roofing guys here, all the girls are here, and I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. One, they're going home a little early, they're getting a meal, and it's just nice. Everybody in one spot to talk about the hiccups that we're having.
Yeah. That's that camaraderie that you build is different when it doesn't feel like work as much when you're doing those events, right? People loosen up a little bit, and that's where those connections get made between people and people. Then when a problem hits, this is when a problem hits and so-and-so calls so-and-so about the problem, it's they have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to help each other out. They feel more like we're in this together, right? Instead of, so being storm restoration, mostly storm restoration work. How you guys bringing in the deals? Are you out there banging doors? What's going on?
So some of the guys do the door knocking. Some of them are all referrals. A lot of our stuff comes from just social media, Facebook. I do the fairs a lot. I'm big with the fairs. I have hand sanitizer stations at a big mall in our state. So that's real big. That helped us out a lot. It has the QR code on it, all that. So I have a few of those. I do water bottles with our names on it. I sponsor a ton of softball. I sponsor a ton of little league like kids. I'm big with like my town. I dump a lot of stuff into my town. I sponsor a lot of different things. A race car, I'm into all that. So that's like how I just think everything plays into one,
Yeah.
But I'm very big with advertising. I dump a ton of money into it. But yeah, that's how we're getting them. So I would say 50%, 50-50 on door knocking. But a lot of these guys are so good where they could get referrals from the homeowner.
That's
what we bring to the table. They're like, man, this is awesome. I'm going to let you know whoever calls me, I'm going to call you, But yeah, that's definitely pretty much my little formula on getting a lot of leads. And a lot of the sales guys bring them in themselves.
So real community-related marketing, it sounds like, is a lot of the foundation of what you're doing. Yeah. Being a part of the community and being seen in the community. Would that be a good way to say it?
Yeah, for sure. I don't do it really, for that. Yeah, of course we're doing it for the advertising, but I do it more for the kids. I don't. Yeah. I sponsor like 4 baseball teams for the kids. My other company sponsors like 4. I do a toy drive every year, and all that stuff's good publicity and stuff, but I don't do it for that. Like,
that's right.
I do a big toy drive, man. I think this is my 5th year, and I've had well over 1,000 toys.
That's awesome.
I fill a 20-yard dumpster pretty much to the rim for the Toys for Tots, the Connecticut Children's Hospital, and for we did DCF this year. So DCF was pretty good, man. It was a bunch of them came out here and talked to us for a little bit. It was awesome. Yeah. But a lot of advertising. That's the biggest thing. You want to be seen, because if nobody knows what you do for a living, how are they going to call you?
It's amazing to me how many people hide from their business.
Yeah. I wear my stuff every day, no matter what. On a Sunday, on a Saturday, I got my hat on, my shirt on, and
yep.
I got coffee cups, Yeti cups. Like, I spent a ton of money into advertising.
Now that stuff isn't stuff that usually comes back right away.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times it's hard to judge the direct return on investment. And I think that gets to a lot of owners.
Yeah.
Right. Man, how do you feel about that?
What do you mean? As in,
like when you got to make this commitment,
right? Yet?
What's that?
I says, I gave him $500 for advertising. I didn't even get a call. That's what you're talking about.
That thing. Yeah.
I've had it. I was that guy. When I first started this company, I used to do placemats like on restaurants and stuff. And I'm like, man, hopefully I'm going to get one. And then you don't get nothing. You're like, it's been 2 months. I didn't even get a call. And the biggest thing is being seen. You want to be seen. Okay, AZ all the time. Eventually somebody's going to get a roof one day and be like, let's just call AZ. You know what? Yeah, the placemat thing does work. Any advertising to me works.
I was talking to, I coach in Adam Bensman's Pitch Pro movement. Shout out Adam. And I was talking we were talking about this morning on a coaching call with the Pitch Pro members. And we were talking about different forms of advertising. We were talking about TV commercials. We were talking about radio. We were talking about billboards. We're talking about digital. We're talking about all these different things, direct mail, all these things. It all works, right? Like it all works, but it's just when to implement it. What's the right thing for your company? Things like that. But I think like what you said, and I agree with it 1,000%. The way I refer to it is maximizing your brand impressions.
Yeah,
your perfect customer, right? To put it succinctly, like that's what you just want them to see your brand over and over and over again. So now you advertise on the placemat. Then they drive down the street and they see you they see your truck at your truck or trailer or hook, then they go to the ball field and there's your signs in the outfield. Yeah. Then they go to the fair and you're there, and then they go to the race and the car's driving around with your logo. Like it just adds up. It adds up in their mind. And if you think about it from a homeowner's perspective, contractors have a terrible reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible reputation, right? So if they see you all the time, that has to invoke some sort of trust that, wow, I've been seeing and this is the other part of it, because it goes back to what you said earlier, like 10 years, right? I've been seeing this company for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 20, 30 years. I've seen this company for decades.
Yep.
They're still here. That has to, like, psychologically, that has to give points, right?
Yeah.
In that homeowner's brain, or in that building owner's, mind, like, it adds up. And if you're not doing it, it's a big mistake. And I love what you're doing, though, because it sounds like to me like Little League and things like that, softball and things like that. Do you play softball? Did you play Little League? Like, or are your kids in Little League? What drives you to, like, certain things to sponsor?
I played when I was small, football. Yeah. My brother's real big into the softball, so that's why I really do the softball thing. He plays damn near every night.
There's a connection there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then my kids are, starting to grow up now, 2.5 and 1, but I want to start paving a way for that as well, But
yeah.
In general,
and the race car?
I'm sorry?
The race car? How'd you get, like, is that?
Yeah, so I just started that this year. I have a female driver. She's there's 2 tracks, I believe, in Connecticut.
Okay.
Like 18 races. I think the opening race is in April or something. I'll post it on my Facebook and my Instagram. But that's going to be pretty cool for me. But my accountant, he doesn't know about this yet. He told me 2 things. But when I first started the company, don't get into horse racing and don't race cars.
Well, hopefully he doesn't listen to the podcast. You might be able to hold it for a little bit more. So then another thing that you talked about doing, right? So now your brand is out there, right? You're getting your brand out there. Your trucks are out there. That you had your trailers. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're all over the place. Social media is another one of those things. So talk about what you guys are doing on social media and how you think about that.
I'm big with social media. I really try to get the whole team involved with it, like, because it's a big team process, So all the girls in the office, they're posting AZ this, AZ that. The sales guys, they're big. Even the carpenters, they're a little, but
harder. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little harder to get, but Facebook and Instagram is the way to go, man. I dump money into it. And I see a lot of contractors out there, like, you never see them, and then you don't even know who they are. And then next thing you know, when there's a storm or something, bang, the next thing you know, on every little piece of your feed for like 3 days around the storm. I'm consistent with it.
Yeah.
So I'm all year long. It doesn't matter if it's snowing outside. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees. I'm going to be consistent with it, so people still know repetition. I'm doing, when I'm doing an ad on Instagram or Facebook, I'm doing $2,500, $3,000 for a month long.
Yeah.
Or 2 months long. I'll put an ad out for the 4th of July, our service members. But yeah, the Facebook and Instagram is the way to go. That's the new wave. I dump a lot of money into it.
So it sounds like you have your team doing it too. And I think I see a lot of owners struggling with this. Mm-hmm. They can't get their team to participate. How have you got them? How have you, got them to buy in on working on doing social media with you?
They see me doing it all the time. I'm constant. Every day I have like 5 posts every day. Well, one's this job, boom. One's this job. I'll go to that job, boom. I use company cam, so if it's a far job, I'll find a picture from somebody one of the guys took, and I'll post that. And then the guys see that, or I'll tag the sales guy. So let's say you just did a roof, you're doing a roof. Of course, you're not there, you're not putting it on. But like my brother will take a picture, or Will, my other project manager, and then I'll take it and then I'll tag you in it. And then I'll make you share. Well, not make you share, but you're like, oh,
you're involved in this, whether you like it or not. Yeah.
I tag the company. I tag, whoever's jobs they are.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to tag the nice houses all the time. You can't tag the older ones. But that, and then these guys see my phone ringing all the time. Damn, his phone's on. He always has leads. And every time we have a sales meeting, when I'm in a sales meeting, I'm like, Facebook, Instagram. Get on it. There's a couple guys in here that fizzle from that, but I'm like, Facebook and Instagram. Another one this past year I really fell onto and I did awesome. One of my sales guys got like 400,000 in sales just off of this. BNIs.
Oh, yeah.
Network International. So any of you guys out there looking into that or have it or don't even know what it is, it's BNI. Business. Yeah, Business Network and
Business
Institute or something. I can't believe I'm messing this up. But it's BNI. So
Business Network International.
International. There you go. I keep messing up. Sorry, I botched that one. I have guys all over the state in there. And here's the best part about it. Another roofing company can't go in there.
That's right.
At all. Another tree
so the way
guy.
BNI groups work for everyone that's listening is that they get one, there's only one company from kind of each, one accountant, one roofing company, one mortgage guy, one real estate person, one insurance person. And then they kind of agree to share leads, like to refer people to. So, if you know someone that needs an accountant, you've agreed to share that accountant that's in your BNI group. And so
a pool company or an electrical guy. Yeah. Hey, anybody you hear from. So I have one guy that's been killing it. He's never going to leave that place. But he showed me it was like 400 and something thousand just off of that one BNI.
Yeah.
But I took it over the whole BNI around me. I got like I think everybody except for one guy that is in a BNI. So the Bristol in Connecticut is huge. That's the biggest, best one. I'm never leaving there. So those are you that are in my state. You're not going to get in that one. Sorry. But I have guys from, Thomaston, Torrington area. I have a bunch of them. I'm trying to get the tree thing going right now with that.
Yeah.
The BNIs. You guys, when you're done watching this video, you need to find the best BNI for you. You could go on the internet, type in the town. If it's a little small rural town, I can't even say it. They probably won't have one, but the next best town next to you.
Yep.
It'll tell you how many people are in that group. 30 people, 20 people. Of course, you want the biggest one. You want to be in the biggest town around you, and I'm telling you, it works. All the other guys get referrals off of it all the time as well. That's the new wave right now.
And what's funny, Tim, is that's an old school. It's an old school thing, but it's probably that people forgot about it. Like BNI groups have been around for decades, man. Yeah. Like they've been around for a long, long time, and they've always been. I've known like other digital marketing companies that like I knew a guy that's what he did. He was in a BNI groups and that's how he got a lot of his business for his marketing agency was being in that group. Like it's a very well known thing. You have to be willing to put in some work on the relationships too, right? To make sure that you're part of it. They do events, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like they do meetings and things like that.
Yeah, they do. Well, because of COVID, a lot of them were Zooms. Everybody's kind of getting back to it now. So it's like most of the guys are on Thursday, so it's 7:00 in the morning till like 8:30.
Yeah.
That's another big thing too. A lot of sales guys, they're like, I don't want to do this every single day. Or I'm sorry, not every day, every week. Yeah. Especially when it's starting to snow out where we're at. We're not shut down. We've been still roofing like crazy. But like they're like, I'm not going to get any leads right now. I don't want to go. So a lot of people fall out. I'm like, stay with it. You're going to get a ton of leads in the summer. You're going to slow down in the winter. And then some of the events are on Wednesdays. And then everybody gets to talk. They do like 5 minutes for like 6 guys this week. And then next week there's another. And then you're just introducing them. Hi, I'm Tim. I own AZ Roofing. We're out of Wolcott, Connecticut. We're a 5-star company. We've been doing this 10 years. We give you a 10-year workmanship warranty on everything. Check us out. We're in Owens Corning, so you have a little 5-minute slot to tell people what you do. And I believe there's like in the morning time, you get to mingle and talk with people, but it's the wave.
That's a great, so this is the thing, like everyone, first of all, every roofing contractor that's listening, every business owner that's listening, their inbox is full there can you handle 10 to 15 more jobs this month, right?
I know.
Your Facebook Messenger is full of that same message. Your Instagram DMs are blown up by this, right? Like all of these things. And I see too many times that everyone's just chasing that magic pill.
Yeah.
Right. And what's the least amount of effort that I can do for the most amount of gain?
Exactly.
Like it's like you were talking about with some of your guys. They're like, I don't want to go this week because it's winter. No one's going to refer me. No, you show up.
I'll have the girls in the office call. Hey man, how's so and so doing in the BNI? Just making sure he's been showing up. We're just checking on guys this week.
Yeah.
And they'll get that talk because they're very strict with that in the BNI. You can't just
they want you to be there. They want you to be a part of it. It's part of what you're committing to. But that's a great resource, especially for someone starting out. Can you imagine if you were able to do that when you were starting out, Tim? Like,
if you're a startup company, you want to be into that.
Man.
100%. You want to find the best place there is in your state, and you want to go to that one if you're a startup company.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's, and some of these things they're not, there is probably some kind of fee to join, right? But maybe
I think it's like $800.
Yeah.
The majority of them are right around there, 800,000. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
For the full year.
And time, right?
Yep.
Couple hours, 4 or 5 hours a month of your time, 4 to 6 hours a month of your time showing up and what do they say for politicians? Shaking hands and kissing babies, right? Like
the more hands you shake, the more money you will make. That's mine. You know what? I really just started pushing that like last year. So one of my guys was, he was a new guy, and I've been trying to push the BNI forever.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, my old lady, she pushed me into that, like get into it. She owns a cabinet company, but she pushed me into it. So I've been pushing my guys, and kind of everybody's like, I don't know. But I got one guy into it. He blew up fast. He was my $400,000 guy.
Yeah.
Off that. And now everybody wants to be in it. Every single guy here is like, oh my God, like I got to be in it. Well, the best one's gone.
Yeah.
But now you're into that.
Yeah. What other things have you done from a business perspective that's kind of, that's helped you, either kind of with efficiencies in your processes, in your production process, in your operations, in what other things are you doing around that?
So I have, if you're just starting out, like what are
some of the things that you've put in place over the years that have helped to, like, I think you told me, like, you have a shop mechanic now, you have there's all kinds of things that you've added in that now it's like, oh, well, as you're building this thing, you can add these things into your business. So what are some of those things? Speak to that a little bit.
We're a good size now. So I have a full-time shop mechanic. I've had one, I think the last 2.5 years or so, 3 years. So full-time shop mechanic, project managers, man, you got to have somebody on the job all the time. Doesn't matter. His job is just to take pictures, hey, I need this. Hey, I need that. You really shouldn't just be leaving. He's there the whole job. So I have 2 guys. One's Will, one's my brother. And they sit there from first thing in the morning. They go in there, they take pictures. The hook truck comes in, he drops the can. We're taking pictures of that. These guys are getting at it. Excuse my language, shit, I need a bundle of shingles.
Yeah.
My brother, the project manager is there ready to roll. A lot of the stuff we have at the shop for shingles wise, so if they need a bundle, one of the guys I have, like a little runner guy, he'll bring Jay or Will a bundle of shingles. Everything else is on the truck. Everything is on the truck. I have extra lead on the truck, extra drip edge, black, brown, and white. We don't have skylights and shingles. Those are like the only 2 things that they don't have on the truck.
Okay.
So we pull up 2 trucks, one van and another truck that's got all the boxes on it. And we have plywood on the truck. So we have the 3/4, the 5/8, ½ inch. We don't have 30 sheets, but I think there's like 10 sheets a ½ inch and then a few other pieces. 3/4 we don't use that much, but at least gets them going. So now when you're ripping, now you got to leave to go get it. Well, all right, cool. Well, I have 10 sheets on the truck. We're good to at least start.
Get started. I'll be back. Yeah.
What happen is depending on where you're at. So if you're far, if you're 40 minutes from the shop, I'm like, hey man, just take the car, go to Home Depot, get something, or ABC or Metro. Metro's my company I use. They're the company that I go to for everything. If it's right around the corner, I have somebody at the shop. I have pallets of plywood here. Hey, run that down to Jay. Jay needs 20 sheets of plywood. That's like the biggest thing. The girls in the office, one does permits. That's all like separated. One, the sales manager, that's her. The biggest one though is definitely the guy on site to do the project manager. He has the work order, like, okay, it's this color drip edge, this is lead, this is copper. Speaking of that, like I have a brake on the truck, so when we're bending copper, it's ready to roll. But that's like the best part about it is just having a guy at the job. There's no hiccups. They have extra everything. God forbid Metro said, damn, man, we forgot the box of nails. We have that in the truck. That's probably the best thing to do is get a guy to sit there that knows what he's doing, taking pictures for you on company cam, because I look through that through the whole day. Yep. If I know rain's coming at 2:00, I'm like, hey, Will, make sure you have the tarp ready to roll.
That's
like,
right.
Be almost finished, but we're pretty good with that.
That's awesome, man. Those are great things to think about. If you don't have that in place in your business or as you're growing, those are those details that you can add in that make outstanding amounts of difference in your business. What do you think, Tim, the greatest insight is that you could share with our audience that's helped you find success in your roofing business?
It's a little bit of everything. It's to be where I'm at. It wasn't just one little thing, but over the last 4 years, and I'm going to keep going back to it. I'm sorry, but Facebook and Instagram's really helped me because it's cost you $0, But yeah, I'm sorry. It's hard to pinpoint for me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been everything to like 50 different things to get me to where I'm at. I would say consistency. Just always keep doing the same thing over and over, even if you don't get any results from it. And that's kind of how I've always been. I've always posted, all the time, just consistent with that, posting. That's the biggest thing I think I could take. It's hard to really narrow it down to like one big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Things.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for your time today. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.